and welcome back to the Street Aesthete channel. Today we are playing Geoguessr and we are dueling. This is the third video in this series of duels and the third video for this particular week. We've got 20 games that we can play to try to rise to the top of the leaderboard here, and we have played 14 of those games, 10 of them resulting in a victory. So we're going to play the final 6 for this week and see if we can get up into the promotion zone to get promoted from the Gold 1 ranking into the Master 2 division. Let's begin. If you enjoy the music that you hear in any of the videos on this channel, then do take a look at my first channel, which I'll link to in the description. That's where I upload all of my original music. And here we have our first opponent. He is a Pole, and we are waving hello to one another before we begin. Thinking most of all, I would say, of South America here, especially with this yellow road line, although I wouldn't necessarily rule out Mexico at this point, but looks as though the sun, not sure about the sun, but yeah, very lush here. Could well be Mexico, could also be Colombia. Not too sure. I think I like Colombia a bit more, but wouldn't be surprised if it's Mexico. I'll be disappointed if it turns out to be Asia. And it was indeed Colombia, so that is a good start for us and a decent bit of damage, considering that our opponent was only in the next country over. So I'm pretty pleased about that. Looks as though we're in Europe this time. Looking reasonably well to do here. Copyright 2023. Means we could be in Germany, but on the whole the architecture doesn't really look very German. It's looking a little bit more Eastern, I would say. Is there anything we can tell from these dashed road lines? I'm not sure that there is. Where am I thinking of? Czechoslovakia, Slovenia even. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think I like Czechia most of all for this, but not too far I suppose from Germany. We've both gone for the same thing, and it was in fact, yeah, just in Slovenia. So we could have had a really great guess out of left field in Slovenia there, but it wasn't to happen this time. It wasn't to be. And now we are in Europe. Now, who would be so audacious as to have our Lord and Saviour by the roadside? I can definitely imagine the Romanians being willing to do something like that. But I'm not entirely sure that's where we are. I sort of like Poland a bit more. But maybe we are in Romania. No, I'm going to go with my first instinct and try Romania. And it was actually Czechia. So good on the Czechs. And a fairly quick guess from our Polish opponent there. So let's not beat around the bush. Camden Airport, injured wildlife. We've got road signs on the left here. Sydney Metro Airport. It doesn't look like the sort of place that there really would be an airport. It seems fairly rural. But yeah, I mean, I don't see why we necessarily should disregard these signs. Yeah, I suppose we'll kind of go on the outskirts. It would be nice to see a suburb called Camden or something like that, but I don't know if we will. Yeah, okay, not too bad. We both saw the sign, and there, in fact, was Camden Airport, so if we'd just spent a little bit more time zooming in on the map, we might have found it. It looks to me like Japan, and there is the Japanese script to confirm it. And so, what do we think about this place? How far south or north does it look? I do find Japan difficult to region guess, with the exception of a few very distinctive areas like Hokkaido, the northern island, but that is not where I think we are. I would honestly say we're just somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I'm going to kind of go around here in the middle. Don't see why not. Wouldn't be surprised if we were a bit further southwest, but I'm not sure if it's just that the sunny coverage is leaning me to think south. And 2 reasonable guesses, I would say. But our opponent's was just slightly better, and we're fairly evenly matched, just chipping away at each other. And we have an interesting round here. Looks as though we are in Africa, and I would say South Africa, These bare green hills very much remind me of Lesotho, so I'd say I'm fairly confident that is where we are. Is there any chance we're in Eswatini, though? It could be either. It's a real toss-up between the two for me. I'm going to go with my first instinct, but I won't be surprised if it's Eswatini. And our opponent goes Bolivia, and it was Lesotho, so that is going to be enough damage to end the game. We offer a GG, a good game, to our opponent, and that has boosted us up into the promotion zone. So we're at the bottom of the promotion zone, but it's a good place to be. 5 games remain this week. Let's play the next one. And we have a German opponent. Lots of Europeans playing at this time. And we're almost certainly in Canada. Which city, though, is a slightly different matter. Windsor. Okay, there is our answer. So a nice easy start. Windsor is somewhere around here, isn't it? Near Toronto? I thought it was maybe even across the river from Detroit. Yeah, that's exactly where it is. And we are looking north. That must be Detroit over there. Can we see... Yeah, we're on Riverside Drive. Can we see which street we are actually on? We've got Pitt Street just behind us. So everything is adding up. But we're not on the bridge there. Which side? Can we see a bridge? Not really. Let's go for Glengarry Avenue. Probably about right. Not sure if it's necessarily the right road. Oh, okay, and our opponent missed it, and we just went the wrong side of the bridge there, but pretty good guess. All things considered, it was useful knowing Windsor. And we've got these twin-parted concrete paving slabs, which definitely makes me think of the Philippines, and with that bit of Spanish language there, I think that's a fairly safe bet. So let's put it in. I don't know really where. I'm just going to go for roughly in the middle. And yep, I really dropped the ball on that one. That was in fact Panama. So not a bad guess latitude-wise, but now I'm just coping. Let's see if we can claw a victory back here. We are in Japan, and let's not waste any time. We're going to see if we can spot the 340. What's the likelihood of that happening? Fairly slim, I would say. We have to be quite far zoomed in. Oh, we've got a 342 here, so that's somewhat promising. 343, so if we start heading a bit further west, 344, we're in the right kind of area. But not quite seeing the 343. There's the 341. Still the 341. Yeah. That'll do. That's probably about as close as we're going to get. Opponent heading way south, and yeah, we're in the right northern part of the island of Honshu here, the main island in Japan. So taking a little bit of HP from our opponent, we're in India, looking fairly northern, I would say. And I'm kind of thinking about this sort of area. We could even be further north. We have been in other rounds in similar looking locales in other games this week. But yeah, there's something actually making me think a bit further south, and I think it's these palm trees. So let's not give our opponent too much more time to think about it. We'll put our guess in. Really love these palm trees. The way they kind of explode out from the center. And our opponent goes further south, and that is going to be enough to end the game for us. So it's a pity. If I hadn't dropped the ball going Philippines in that Panama round, we might have had a different outcome there. But anyway, we have still got 4 games to go. So let's see if we can make it to the top of the leaderboard. We would have to win probably all of the next 4 games in order to supplant this Swiss player from first place. I'm not sure if it's possible, but I think second place is definitely on the cards. So let's see if we can make it happen. Hello there, I'm speaking to you from a few days after the dueling session that you've been watching. When I loaded the footage into the video software, I found that after the second duel in this video, the screen record footage had cut out, which is a bit of a nuisance, but fortunately the webcam kept rolling. So what I've done is I've recreated the games by re-recording them in Geoguessr's playback feature. So from now on, the game footage is going to look a little bit different, the interface is a bit different, but at least we still get to see all of the games that were played. So apologies for that, and let's continue. And we've got another Polish opponent. Waving hello, we'll reciprocate. And we seem to be in Europe. Looking kind of Spanish to me. Is this actually Andorra, I wonder? We've certainly got the mountains here. Can't see anything that is quite enough to confirm the language. If we are in Spain, I would say it's certainly a bit further north. Can't quite read that. Yeah, not the easiest of rounds. The mountains don't quite look snow-clad enough for us to be in Andorra. And I wonder if we might even be... I don't know, but these... You see this pattern of rocks here does remind me of Andorra, but it also reminds me of other places in Spain. I think I'm going to stop messing around and just go with my first instinct here and put us in Andorra la Vella. Our opponent has the same idea, and we were indeed in Andorra, so nice to get the country there. But such a small place that, given we both got it, there were no big points up for grabs there. Looking Asian, I would say, and it looks as though also we're driving on the left. Let's see if the sun can give us any answers. Sun is more or less in the north, so that would put us in the southern hemisphere, so I'm certainly thinking about Indonesia here. But the white road markings actually are more kind of Malaysian, I would say. So I'm thinking more about Malaysia here on the peninsula. But is there a chance that we're in northern Borneo? It looks like pretty good road infrastructure here, fairly wealthy, and that leans me more towards the peninsula. So for that reason, I'm going to stick it in, but I'm going to maybe hedge a bit further east, which might claw back a few points in case we are in Sarawak or Sabah. We've both gone for the same thing, and it was indeed Borneo. Big points were up for grabs if only I'd had the confidence to go for it. Okay, beautiful forested area here. And going by this architecture, I would say we're in Asia. Not very confident about that, but yeah, my big idea here is South Korea. Not too sure of it. Although, that said, you know, might this even be Bhutan? Tricky. Yeah, it's a 50-50 between those two for me, and I'm leaning towards Bhutan. So let's try it out. I'll just go for maybe somewhere around here. Looks like there's a bit of a settlement over there. Okay, looks like we've both agreed on the country, and it's a good thing I didn't go South Korea. But yeah, another fairly similarly skilled opponent to me, our Polish friend Glenda. Interesting. Yellow road line. Kind of Scandinavian looking architecture, but the yellow road line says America, or rather the Americas. And I'm thinking more about Canada. Yeah, I think Canada is right. Whereabouts, though? It's a tricky one. We could be over in the west coast for all I know. We could also be kind of out in a more rural part of Ontario. It's tough. It's a tough round. I think this does feel very remote. So for that reason, I'm leaning towards the west coast, and I'm going to put us in maybe not British Columbia, maybe kind of outside of Edmonton and Alberta. Not too sure. Let's try it. Wow. Okay. Wow. And it was way out east on the island of Newfoundland. Yeah. So luckily, not too much damage there because our opponent pretty much went in the middle. And what have we got here? Not too much to go off of. Yellow road sign. And this zigzag paving. This is a really tricky one. It's really tricky. I don't know where we are. I truly don't. I'm going to go for Korea. I don't know. I was thinking Asia with that paving. And yeah, it was Asia at least. You know, I nearly went for somewhere in Europe or even South America. Didn't have much time to zoom in. Might have hedged more in the middle, which would have got us a few more points. But anyway, here we are in what looks like the southern hemisphere. I think we can confirm that with the sun. And lots of gum trees, but we don't seem to be in Australia because of the yellow road line in the middle. So what side of the road are we driving on? Oh, we just can't tell. We just can't tell from this distance, I don't think. Ah, we've got Spanish or Portuguese over there, that Vendi sign. And with that in mind, I think I'm going to have to put us in Brazil. So, yeah, it's quite red. It doesn't look like we're too far north, although these are quite unusual for... I wouldn't expect to see those too far south, so... Yeah, Mato Grosso do Sul maybe making sense here, but equally I think we could be up around here as well. It does feel very dry. And with that sort of drought, I'm leaning further north. So I'm just going to kind of hedge in the middle of the two sort of areas that I'm thinking of. Not even totally sure that I've got the right country here, but I think it's possible our opponent may come undone, or indeed we might. And yeah, our opponent has gone for South Africa, which was one of my thoughts, to be fair. That was my second choice after Australia. It wasn't until we saw that Venji sign that I realised we were in the Americas. And now we're in Europe, I would say. And not too many clues. The main thing I'm thinking is that this very wintry coverage reminds me of stuff you see in northeastern Bulgaria. And since that's kind of all I've got to go off of, I'm going to use it. Opponent goes Ukraine, and it was Romania. I'm ever so slightly closer, but neither of us got the right country. We both got adjoining countries. Alright, looking like Europe. Can't quite read that there, but it looks like Zastavka maybe, which would be a Slavonic word for bus stop. Slavonic in the sense that it's one of the Slavic languages, not Slovenian or Slovakian necessarily, but it could well be one of those. Rolling hills. Yeah, I'm thinking about Czechoslovakia here, and of the two, I think this landscape says Czechia more than Slovakia, which tends to be a bit more mountainous, so I'm going to go for it, but maybe a bit further south in case we're somewhere more around Croatia, Slovenia. Let's try it. I think it could well be Poland though, you know. I think Poland is a strong possibility actually. Alright, nice. Getting the right country, and that's it. We have won the game. It's GG to our opponent. And well deserved, I would say. We both dropped the ball and made good guesses at various points in that game. And that jumps us into third place. Very nice. One more win is going to jump us into second place, and I think if we can manage that, at that point we will take stock and see if there's any possibility of us getting into first place. We'll just do a little bit of calculation. But anyway, 3 games to go. Another poll, but a different player. I'll be the first to initiate the wave on this occasion. We'll see if he is friendly enough to wave back. He is not, but I'm not going to let that bother me. Where are we? I'm thinking about India. Oh, that is either Sri Lankan or one of the southern Indian scripts. I think going by the camera quality, this is probably Sri Lanka, and it looks like a fairly large city. So let's go on the outskirts of Kandy, hedging west for Colombo. Here goes Colombo, and yeah, it was a bit further east, so that has worked out very nicely for me. But we've both got the country, which as soon as we saw the script, I would say was a fairly easy get. Alright, looking like Europe here. Lovely tiled roofs. And a fantastic landscape, just great scenery here. But where are we? I'm kind of thinking about, I had this idea about Albania and Montenegro, but we don't see the telltale cut in the coverage through the sky. So, could be thinking about Italy, but something not quite Italian about this. Another possibility is Greece, but I don't know if I even like Greece particularly for this. Also Turkey, for that matter. Yeah, it's a tough round. I do often find these Southern European rounds a bit tricky. There's not too much to go off of architecture-wise. This could also be Spain, even Portugal. Gosh, I'm just not sure. Even Sardinia. I suppose I'm kind of going. I'm thinking more about Greece, Turkey. It's tough. It's a tough round. I'm gonna leave it there. Don't love the guess, but it has paid off. It's worked in our favour. So we were on the Peloponnesian island. Is that what it is? Peloponnesia? Not sure how you call it. Here we are in, I would say, Colombia. Sun in the north puts us in the southern hemisphere. So maybe Ecuador could work here. I'm not too sure about it. Let's try it. He also has gone Ecuador, and it is further south. So, yeah. Good guess under pressure there. Would have liked to have spent a little bit more time analysing what we could see, but not to worry. Got some language here, which is looking like either Malaysian or Indonesian. White road lines says Malaysia more to me, and now we've got the classic toss-up between the two different parts of Malaysia. Quite flat here, quite remote, which makes me think more of Borneo. So I might go Western Sarawak, just in case we are in this part of Malaysia. Let's try it. He goes for the peninsula, and it was indeed the peninsula. And that would have been big damage if we'd been into the multiply rounds, so that round came at just the right place for me. What are we thinking of here? First thought was Turkey, but we've got Cyrillic language here, so a few possibilities. One of them being Montenegro, but I don't think there's any coverage that's this high quality there. So Bulgaria also could make sense, as could North Macedonia. Yeah, no, I'm thinking Bulgaria. Serbia also a possibility, so let's just hedge over in that direction, kind of western Bulgaria. He goes more central, and it was Veliko Trnovo. But yeah, nice to get the right country in that round. Next up. This is the sort of coverage that worries me, because if you know it, you know it. And if you don't, then you're in trouble. But you know what? I think this is actually Mongolia. Whereabouts? Not too sure. East or west? I'm gonna try sort of west of Ulaanbaatar. I really hope it is Mongolia. Yeah, actually just south of the capital there. Ooh, and that is big damage. That is an unforgiving round. Okay, we have got Dutch here, or perhaps Flemish. Just looking around for hills or evidence of the landscape, but there's not too much that we can tell. The yellow number plates you, of course, see in the UK, but also in, I can't remember whether you see them in the Netherlands or Holland. I think you see them in the Netherlands and not Holland, but I'm not too sure about that. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of stick it in the southern Netherlands. A similar guess from our opponent, and it's a little bit further north. Chipping away at me. I need one big round to do some serious damage to our Polish opponent. We are in Europe. We've got a nice bit of bicycle infrastructure there. Interesting. I was thinking about Belgium, southern Belgium maybe, Luxembourg. Yeah, let's go for it. He goes in Denmark, which was my other thought, not one that I voiced, but that is enough damage to knock us out of the game. Yeah, it's a pity. I didn't mention Denmark, but it was my second idea. The bicycle path just got me stuck in a kind of Belgium, Netherlands sort of way of thinking, but of course it wasn't the Netherlands because of the hilliness of the landscape. Anyway, 2 games to go, the penultimate game. So we cannot make it into first place, even if we win the next 2 games, but we can make it into second place. So let's see if we can pull these last couple of wins out of the bag. We've got a Norwegian opponent waving hello. And where shall we begin? Looking like, I was going to say Europe, but then we see stop written in Cyrillic. Pretty good road quality here. I think we're in Russia. And I'd say given the good road quality, that would point to not too far outside of Moscow. Yeah, looking quite Baltic. We could be up by St. Petersburg equally. But yeah, I don't dislike my guess here. He goes east of Moscow, and it was just west of Moscow. So yeah, some good deduction skills there. Thinking about the road quality and how all of the money in the country flows into Moscow. This looks like we are somewhere in the Arabian Peninsula. Or, could we be in Qatar? I would say not, with 2015 coverage. So this is probably the Emirates. And just going to kind of stick it in the middle, really, near Sharjah and Dubai. Yeah. great. Okay, yeah. Just outside of Sharjah there. We've got Cyrillic here. Moja rodina, Bratski rayon. My homeland, brotherly region. Bratski rayon. Is that actually a region that we should know the name of in Russia? Will we be able to see that? The brotherly region, or is that just something they're saying on the sign? In terms of what I think about the landscape here, I think the flag confirms Russia. Thinking kind of a bit further east, but maybe not too far. Yeah, kind of between Tyumen, Yekaterinburg. Let's try it. Similar guess from our opponent, and my hedging east pays off slightly. We were just outside of Bratsk there. Oh, of course, Bratsky rayon, not brotherly, but Bratsk. Well, maybe similar route. What have we got here? Still thinking about that previous round. Yeah, we've got the yellow road line, which is kind of throwing me off here. Kind of really throwing me off. Because it kind of feels like it could be a European landscape, but 2023. Can we see the sun anywhere? Oh, I'm worried about this round. Sun is, yeah, okay, northern hemisphere. I suppose in that case you've just kind of got to go US. I'm not sure about it. Up in the mountains here. I don't love this. Don't love this at all. Well, okay, not too bad. Our opponent not really getting any smart ideas either. But we both thought of West Coast. Well, I'm actually surprised. Yeah, Vermont, very mountainous. Don't really think of that region of the US as being mountainous, but of course, Vermont and Maine are oft forgotten. Now we're really out in the sticks here. I want to check the sun in the north. Yeah, definitely thinking about Argentina here. A little bit more hilly, so I'd put us kind of outside of Cordoba, Mendoza, somewhere around there. Yeah, don't think too much, just play. He goes for South Africa, and yeah, it was Bolivia. Correct continent at least, although not a great guess. Got a good feeling about this game. I think we may be about to take the win, but this round is giving me pause for thought. Yeah, really not sure about this one. Thinking about the Americas, we've got... Oh, this doesn't feel right, doesn't feel good to me. I don't like it at all. The red soil said Brazil, but... What? Where were we? That is Adamstown. Don't know anything about Adamstown, but at least neither did he. Okay, we have got the Kenyan car with the snorkel. Sun is in the north, putting us in the southern hemisphere, so that narrows it down a little bit to the southern part of Kenya. Feels a little bit drier, so I don't want to trust the sun too much when you're on the equator, so yeah, we're just going to kind of plonk ourselves in the middle of that area of kind of settlements there. A little bit further south, not too bad. Happy to take the damage on this occasion. Alright, Europe. Looking like Dutch road infrastructure, or German, or Danish. Don't want to get caught out on the Danish stuff again. But yeah, we've got the yellow license plate, so I think we're going to have to go Netherlands. Feels a little bit more remote, so I'm kind of thinking further north. Maybe in this part that kind of sticks out into Germany. Okay, way up there, near Middenmeer. Little bits of damage being chipped away here. The Immortal. Where are we? Where are we? Ah, we're in Korea. Alright, okay. Korea, I find a very difficult country to region guess. I don't have any great ideas here, which is why I'm pretty much just going to go in the middle. Yeah, middle it is. Daejeon. opponent with the same guess. It was Daegu, and by hedging east, which wasn't something I did consciously, that just gave us a little bit of advantage there. Okay, Primo Maggio, via Primo Maggio. We're in Italy, or San Marino? Certainly mountainous enough to be San Marino. I don't know how you can tell. I used to remember what the car meta is, but I don't really see a car meta here, so... Yeah, I'm going to have to go Italy, but what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm just going to kind of go near San Marino, maybe in this area here, south of Bologna. Could be further north, yeah, would make sense. Oh, it was San Marino. Yeah, I should have gone with my gut there. Ooh, and it was almost enough to kick our opponent out of the game, but let's make this the round. A tricky one. Sun is in the north, I would say, so we're southern hemisphere. Probably South America. Thinking about Uruguay, also about Misiones province or Corrientes province in Argentina. Yeah, I'm gonna just kind of, yeah, even Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil. Yeah, just gonna kind of put it, let's go kind of around the tri-point there, I think. Ooh, it was Uruguay. Big damage there, big damage for our opponent. He's probably thinking he's in with a chance still. Let's disabuse him of that notion. Easier said than done. Oh, I should know what the red chevron on the white means, but I just don't quite remember. I'm thinking about Romania. Yeah, thinking about Romania. Let's do it. Nice, good stuff. That's the one. GG to our opponent there. He put up a valiant fight. But in the end, the game was ours. That was the penultimate game of this week, and that is going to further solidify our spot in second place for the leaderboard. We've got one game left, and we have yet another Polish opponent. Geoguessr are very popular with the Poles, it seems. And look at this. How interesting. Spanish language. What about the hemisphere? Northern hemisphere with Spanish language. Could this be Spain? Or is this... it's an interesting round. I was going to say it could be Mexico, but actually with the white road markings, I'm definitely thinking more about Spain itself. Wait, what was it that made me think this was Spanish and not Portuguese? Ah, the E instead of the... No, wait. It would be Y. It would be the letter Y if it was Spanish. The E, letter E for and, is Portugal. So where are we in Portugal? Gosh, I don't know, but good thing I realised the country at the last moment. Alright. This is classic Japan, I would say, with this big kind of concretey slab thing. We are driving on the left. I don't know what else I'm going to be able to glean from this, so let's just kind of go on Honshu, roughly in the middle. Not bad. I'll take it. So far, we have played flawlessly in these 2 rounds, but I wouldn't be surprised if our opponent does take some damage from us. We are in India, and let's see whereabouts we might see a script like this. A bit further north. What else can we tell? Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, big infrastructure here. Maybe we go... yeah, it does feel very kind of dry as well, so I'll hedge a little bit further west. Wow, right up in the Punjab there. But yep, happy to take the win on that round. Can't quite make out the language there, but it looks as though it could well be Cyrillic. Cyrillic confirmed. Dobro pojalovat. Welcome. Novim. I'm not going to try and read that. It's too long. Yeah, I mean, probably Russia, right? Kind of go near Kazan. Here goes Ukraine, and yeah, it was actually down in southern Russia there, near Stavropol. And that was the first bit of damage that our opponent has done. Okay, the Timber Trail, Puriora Forest Park, that puts us firmly with that Maori language there in New Zealand, and I would say North Island. And it very much reminds me of the area around kind of Taupo, Rotorua. Yeah, I like that indeed. Maybe even a little bit further north. Let's try it. Oh, it was actually there. We just saw it. The forest park was just down there. I thought I spotted it anyway. But yeah, that is good. Where did our opponent go? He went in Australia. Oh, and that's it. That was the game. And so concludes my 20 games for this week. Oh, we did a bit better than I thought we were going to do. I suppose we may have gained extra points for close guesses and things like that. And so that has put us within the same 100 as the number one player in our set of 30, but not quite enough. So we won 14 out of 20 games. Hello again. It's Monday morning of the next week, and we're just here to confirm that we did indeed stay in the promotion zone, so that we will be playing next time in the Master 2 division. So, here we go. Duels. The week is over. See results. Yeah. As expected, we have been promoted to the Master 2 League. We retained our position of second place in our leaderboard table of 30. So, a very satisfying first outing, I would say, for Duels on the Street Aesthete channel. I had a great time dueling for your entertainment, so I will be dueling again in the Master 2 division, and you can see me come undone as we start to come up against some higher rated opponents. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you've made it this far, why not subscribe to the channel? If you've been enjoying the music that you hear in this video, then take a look at my first channel, linked in the description, which is where I upload all of my original music. See you next time, and mind how you go.